All right, it is Friday, March 8th. It's just about 9:30 a.m. right now, and I'm done for today. As you can see today, 3 and 1, 75% for the day, and got a win for PA7, made $202, so I'm less than $100 below the starting balance now on that account, which is good. And Eval 27, I made $138. And let's see, we're about $1,100 away from the target on that evaluation. And Eval 33, $368 today. And what, 1,750 away from the target there. And then unfortunately, I did take a loss on evaluation 35. That was my last trade of the day. I lost $1,167. So we'll get into this and talk about that. But every day I am live streaming, so check it out, 9:45 to 12:30 East Coast time. And the 71% discount with the 3-day pass and a $35 reset promo from Apex still running through March 14th. Use this code or any other. And let's see, I always on Fridays like to think about the week, and 19 and 7 for the week, only 73%. So definitely at the lower end of the expected win rate for the week. 7 losses, I believe, is my record now for this strategy in the just over 2 months I've been trading it. 7 losses, definitely more than I've been taking usually. And 4 of those losses happened on the one single day. So, but overall, 19 wins is great, because if I had been sticking to my risk management strategy properly this whole week, that would have meant 19 accounts or 19 times, one for each account, would have picked up wins for the week, whatever the best way is to describe that. There was one day this week where I traded just account 26, and I took 8 trades that day and got 6 winners and 2 losers, and still managed to blow up that account that day. So all the wins that day didn't get distributed between accounts. It all got absorbed into an account that is no longer active. And that's why I don't want to trade that way. And so at the time it seemed like a good idea, but in hindsight, I really wasted an opportunity where I could have spread out multiple wins across accounts, and then could have just had a red account that day, not blown it up, and then would have had that account available on another day where it was a potential account that could just absorb another loss if need be, or take wins and come back, whatever the case may be. But it's a numbers game, so the more accounts I have to absorb losses, the better the chances are of other accounts being able to continue forward towards their goals, in theory. So let's get into today and talk about it real quick. I don't want to make another hour-long video. I've noticed, I said this in my live stream, that the live streams seem to get more traffic, more interest, and the reviews seem to get less views. So I don't want to spend a half hour or an hour every day doing a review if not as many people are watching it. But at the same time, doing the reviews are helpful to me to get my thoughts out, think about how things went, and collect my thoughts for how I'm going to move forward. And so, but I want to keep it a reasonable length of time. So let's get into the trades right now for the day. All right, here we go. So I was on the chart just before 7 in the morning, I believe, and there was some big news early on, 5:30 in the morning, way before I start, and it really propelled the market higher to start the day. And let's see. So by the time I took my first trade, it was about 7:09, 7:10 in the morning. Let's see, actually when I got in the trade was, just after 7:10 in the morning. So I'd been on for 10 to 15 minutes at that point, and I got this trade. This is a good example of like not having rules to keep you out of winning trades. what's considered the signal bar is not a great bar to be going short off of. You got a big, strong push up. But this chart had all winners for the whole session. And so, I keep telling myself, trade like a robot. Just trade like a robot. If you get the entry, trade it like a robot, take the entry. The robot's only going to take entries. And the only time it won't take entries is if it doesn't fit the parameters. So take the entry. I took it, even though it doesn't look like a great trade. It worked great for the profit target. I actually got some extra ticks, so plus 20 ticks on the trade. And the risk was a 49 tick bar, not too bad. I'm looking at the risk because later on in the day, you'll see that these bars just get bigger and bigger and bigger as the day goes on. So and it affected how much this loss was. By the time I finally got a loss, I hadn't realized how big the bars were getting, and so I just did what I'm supposed to do and take every entry, and wasn't thinking at all about how big these bars were getting. And so we'll look at that in a second, but let's move on to my second trade. Oh, also real quick, I should just mention that I am now doing this thing. I wanted to be able to choose which account gets traded next. And I was having a conversation with my brother yesterday. And I was like, it would be great if there's some kind of indicator or some kind of tool in NinjaTrader where it could just pick the next account for me, so I don't have to decide whether my first trade is going to be an evaluation or a PA and which one, or my second trade is going to be this or that. There's different things going on with all the different accounts. Some are close to passing, some are closer to getting a payout, some are farther away. Some I consider like my good accounts versus my bad accounts if they're under starting balance, all that sort of stuff. If there's not full drawdown. And I was like, thinking it'd be great. And my brother was like, well, you should use that wheel that Alpine uses for his giveaways. And then you just put your accounts in the wheel and it's going to choose which account. And then you just have it remove it from the wheel so that the next time it chooses another account on the wheel for the next trade, it's only the accounts that haven't been traded yet. And I just thought, man, my brother is full of good ideas. So I did that and I really liked it because it's like another part of the system where I just don't have to like put my thought or logic or analysis into why I'm going to choose what the next account's going to be or why the first account is going to be this or that. So now when I'm trading, the account that I'm taking the trade on is going to be completely random. And so I like that because there's going to be no thought process about like, oh, I don't know if I want to risk the PA on right now on this one or this evaluation because it's like, getting close and the market's kind of weird or whatever. It's like, no, we're just going to pick based on what the wheel chooses, and whatever one it is, that's the account I'm trading. And it just takes all the thinking and thought process out of it. And for me, I love that. I think, that's going to be great for me in my trading as I move forward. I just really enjoyed that today. And so that's how I'm going to move forward. And, it's like, I'm going to just trade like a robot, and that's going to be another factor of that. Anyway, moving on here. So here we see another size tick chart, and this chart, has a lot more bars. And you can see I took 3 trades on this chart, and I started off the day 3-0, and then I picked up my loss at the end. So, or at least the last trade I took. So let me make this bigger so we can see it here. So here we go. My first trade was at, 7-11 or something like that. The next trade was at 7-18 on this chart. And again, 3 bars kind of stacking up, not necessarily looking like the best trade to take, but it was a second entry. The chart was consistently working with no losses. And the wheel chose evaluation 27 to be the second trade, and I got 11 ticks on that and made $138. So I moved on to trade number 3, which was not too much later. 726. And this one was a weird one. This one, this bearish bar closed. This bar started moving up. And before it even engulfed, it was like almost at the top. Somehow I got entered into the trade on my Apex account only. And of course, the wheel chose PA7. So I was in the trade on PA7 before my leader account actually triggered. I'm not sure how that happened, but that was pretty strange and different. Never seen that before. And so then I was in the trade. It technically hadn't triggered yet. And then it started pulling back. And it looked like I was just going to get taken right out. And because I was on the PA account, I didn't want to mess with my stop and risk blowing it up on this trade. So I left it there. I mean, I really would have only had like 300 in drawdown left if I were taken out of the trade at that point. And I mean, I wasn't even paying attention, but this is, the bar size was getting bigger at this point, 64 tick bar. I mean, it's still inside the range of what I'm willing to trade. If I were to put parameters in like a bot and say, okay, if the bar is bigger than this, then I don't want to take the trade. I think the parameter would be like, I'm willing to take a trade anything under, say, 80 ticks. When it gets into the mid 80s, 90s, that's where I should start really probably considering not taking the trade, because it is getting to the point where the risk reward really is out of hand. Although I'll talk about it in a second after I talk about my fourth trade. But so PA7, I was in this trade. It was working against me. I was in the trade before it actually triggered just on my PA account. And then it came all the way down here. And then this bar luckily shot back up, actually engulfed. Then my leader account got filled, was in the trade. And then I had my ATM in place. I had, that's the other thing. I didn't even have my stop actually. When I first got entered into the trade on the PA account, it was pulling back and there was no ATM on the screen at all. No stop. So I had my finger ready to flatten in case I needed to flatten it. Luckily it shot back up. It triggered the leader account, and then I had my ATM strategy. So I moved my stop in place and got the inside bar, which, I actually felt pretty good by the time this closed that it was going to work. And then it did go on to work and got 15 ticks. So not too bad. $202 on the PA account. So then sticking with this chart, we had a move down. I mean, there is a clear 2 legs down and some. So it was in the right place, in theory, to take along. It actually, my entry was 93.75 and the high was 97.25. So if I think about this, let me see, 93.75, which means if it got to 96.75, I could have got my 11 tick scalp. So it actually worked for my 11 tick scalp, but because I tried to capture more than 11, I needed it to go a few more ticks before it would have locked in the scalp. So technically speaking, it did work for my scalp target, but I try to be a little greedy and get these trades to work for a little bit better. I got 15 ticks on this chart. On this trade, number 3. My first trade, I got 20 ticks. This trade, I got just 11. So 2 out of the 4 trades got extra ticks. So it's worth doing, but it did cost me on this account, where if I was just going for my normal scalp and not trying to capture extra ticks, this would have been a winner. So I didn't see that in real time during the day, but it's important to recognize that. But I'm willing to take the losses in these cases. It's only the second time I've seen that so far since I've been doing my auto stop strategy the way I'm doing to try to collect more. So I'll accept it. And, we'll see how many times that happens. This is only the second time so far, like I said. But this bar was 74 ticks. So now we're getting in the range of like, okay, is this really the size bar I want to start trading? or B trading. Now, what I just talked about is it actually would be still in the range. I mean, it's getting big, but I think if it's under 80 ticks, I'm willing to take it for the most part. And then after that, these bars just started getting huge. I mean, this bar, 95 ticks, you know, and I moved on from this chart. What did I go? I went to like, I think a chart like this after I took that loss. And, you know, these bars were just, let me try to fix my indicator real quick. All right. So these bars, I mean, just started getting huge. Like this bar was a 95 tick bar. I'm just trying to think, like this bar, 120 ticks, you know, let's see here, this bar, 107 ticks, 114. Yeah. So these bars just started getting ridiculously big. And at that point I was just like, okay, well, I can't trade this way anymore. I'm not going to take a trade on 100 tick bars, 90 tick bars, 105 tick bars, whatever they are. So at that point I was just like, okay, I can't take trades. But if I had, there were a number of trades I could have taken. I probably could have gotten a win on every single account left today. I don't think I would have ran into a loss before I traded all the accounts that are active. So, you know, it's another day where I could have done better than I did. But, you know, it's not necessarily my risk management to worry about that. But at a certain point, it's just like, okay, this is getting ridiculous, because if I'm randomly trading a PA account and that next bar is 100 ticks and I happen to take a loss, you know, that does really big damage to the account, more than I'm willing, you know, to accept. So that's where I say, okay, some risk management to say like, that's just too much risk on any of these trades for these accounts. But the risk management really is, like I said earlier in the week, yesterday, the risk management is by spreading out the trades over the accounts. And so you can see I took a hit on this account, which was one of the worst accounts that I had at the time. And meanwhile, I moved 3 other accounts forward. And, you know, if I am trading aggressively and just taking every entry, I very well could have had a win for every other account that is active. So going back to the week, I mean, there's just a number of things I'm taking away from the week as positives. It's a positive for me that I had 26 trades, although 7 of them were losses. The bulk of those losses were from really one bad day. And if I had played this week smarter and just stuck to my risk management strategy of 1 trade per account and just randomly going through each account, 6 accounts, or at least 5 accounts really, would have had 1 extra win this week. However, they would have been dispersed in these accounts. And so these, you know, there's 5 accounts that would have been better off at the end of this week than they currently are, because I wasted those wins on this account 26 that one day earlier this week. So you know, that was a learning thing for me to remind me. I'm doing this for a reason. I have to stick with it. No matter what my thoughts or feelings are for the day, I got to just trade like a robot. And that's what I'm trying to do. Take every entry on the winning charts. And the only time I will not take an entry is another thing that I picked up this week is to allow for rules in key areas. Don't trade into the previous day high. Don't trade into a previous day close or a low of the day or a previous day's low. But I can trade off of it. So if this were a second entry short coming off of the opening price and off of the previous day close, like I'll trade off of it as resistance if it's below it. I'll trade off of it a second entry long if it's above it, but I'm not going to take a second entry long going right into it. And actually, this is a good example. This is a new high. You got a first entry. Let me make this bigger. So I got a new high here. This is a first entry long. And this bar, this is a second entry long. And it's trading right into the opening price. Now, If this opening price wasn't here, it would be trading right off of the previous day close, and then I would like it. But the fact that it's trading right into the opening day price could be resistance, you know. So, and you can see it did turn out to be resistance, and then it had double resistance because it closed underneath the previous day close. So, you know, that's a rule that I'm going to apply. So it's a really limited rule because it only applies when you're in these kinds of areas. And but it's a rule. It will reaffirm taking the trade when I'm trading off of it as like support or resistance going in the other direction, and it'll keep me out of a trade if it's trading into the resistance or trading into the support. And so I think that's one good rule that I can have. That was an observation this week that used to be part of my bigger set of rules anyway. And I picked up a couple losses that way, that just applying that one simple rule will eliminate at least those trades, win or loss on the chart. If a chart is winning for the day, it's just a more likely area where a loss will get picked up on that chart. I just see it happen more and more times. It's more likely there. So, that's another good thing I'm taking away from the day. I reinforced that I just need to take every entry and trade more like a robot. I like that I have this new wheel that I'm going to spin that picks the accounts. And so I can take that thought process out of which account should be traded next, or for which one should be traded first, and all of that. It takes it out of my hands. So I really love that. And so there's just a number of things that I'm really happy about this week. And so the reality is I did burn one evaluation this week. I blew it up. I did take some hits, especially on PA2, where I got a loss this week and never took another trade after that on this account. And so when I was 600 away, now I'm still about 1,100 away. So there were some negative things that happened, but that day that I took the loss on PA2, that day was the day I had 4 losses that day. So imagine if I was just trading one account and took the 4 losses, that account would be blown. So that's why I'm spreading it out. And instead of doing that, I had 3 accounts that improved that day and 4 accounts that took a hit but weren't blown. And that's my risk strategy. And if I ever do blow an account, I talked about this yesterday, but my risk management is all these evaluations are at worst 80% discount fees. So at worst, I'm losing $30 on any individual account. Some of these accounts I picked up at 90%, so those are only $15 or $16. And the PA accounts are roughly on average around $200 worth of fees that was required to attain those. So at any given time, I'm never risking more than a single account at a time for max $200 of my actual real money. So it's just important to note that, and for me to keep that in mind as I continue to take more trades. 26 trades this week. And, I'm excited about that. Even though I have the 7 losses, I think if I can have a more standard week where I'm 80% and above, which is what I've been typically at, then the strategy is going to work out really well. If I'm falling down into the low 70 percentages, then I'm not sure how well this strategy is going to work out. So we're going to have to see over time. But big picture, 2024, 154 trades. I've won 123 of them, and I'm right at 80%. So I think as long as I'm right in that area as kind of the true average, and then I'm, hopefully many weeks above that, then these accounts are going to get to where I need to get them. So I think I've said it all today. Again, I'm always showing all my balances, showing all my accounts. I'm not hiding how many evaluations I've gone through, how many PA accounts I've gone through. It's all right there. Sharing the wins and the losses, and all my stats. And we'll see where I get to. Let's keep the journey going. I'm going to keep it going. And, I have no idea how this is going to go. We'll see. Join me on this journey, and I'll be back at it Monday. I hope you had a good trading day and a good trading week. And let's keep it moving. All right. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. I'll be back at it next week.